Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to your reading. This is Bright Soul Collective Tarot, and my name is Laura. And these will be your intuitive insights and advice for the month of April 2022. This reading will be for Sagittarius Sun, Moon, and Rising. I hope that you're all doing well. I'm excited to see what April has in store now that we're in the season of spring. Spring is finally here. We're also in Aries season, which is beneficial, obviously for Aries, but also especially for other fire signs. So like Leo and Sagittarius are included in that. We're at home in that fire type of energy, and it kind of Aries season gives us like a fresh start and access to those strengths of that courage, that motivation, that's just kind of like a refresh, which is really nice for the month of April and spring in general. So I'm excited to see what comes through. I've got your oracle cards here. We'll pull some tarot and clarifiers and finish off with some affirmation cards. And before we get into the cards, I will share with you the channeled messages that I sat down to connect with before I pulled your cards out. And as always, before we get started, I will just remind you this reading is general in nature, so not all of the information that comes through will be for you specifically, but definitely take anything and everything that resonates, however that applies to your specific situation. Keep an open mind to anything that might be helpful to you, and simply leave the rest. So Sagittarius, we'll get into your channeled messages. So I have to say, before I even started really connecting with messages, the energy that I was picking up on was really, I really was digging it. I think I need a little bit of it for myself, to be honest. So as I was sitting down to kind of meditate a little bit, clear my head, ground, and center myself before consciously deciding to channel these messages for you, I almost got lost in this really zen kind of place. I was sitting there, I had my eyes closed, it was really relaxed, I was getting deep breaths, and I didn't really want to start channeling because I was just enjoying how relaxed I felt and how kind of empty my mind felt. And so that might be an energy that you're already in, or a place that you're trying to get to, but April might be a really good month, or you might find yourself connecting with more of that. So I kind of get the sense that you might not feel like doing much of anything else. You might really just want to take the time to relax, shut off from the world, let yourself rest and feel good, right? And if you get into that space, because let's be honest, even when we try to meditate, not every day is a good day. Sometimes it's more work than others to get into that space. And so I'm just going to say, if you end up having a day here or there where you're doing yoga or deep breathing or stretching, or you're just taking time to relax, however that looks like to you, and you're really enjoying it and you are really just in the zone, let yourself stay there for as long as you feel that you need to, because that's going to be a really helpful and healing and beneficial energy. And it's not necessarily something that is easy to kind of get into on a regular basis. So that is just something I wanted to say. So the first message that came through was forgiveness. So this could very well be forgiving people around you, in terms of if there's any kind of disagreement or any turmoil in relationships, that could be it. But I also get the sense that there's a large amount of self-forgiveness. So perhaps you might be coming to understand some of the ways that you have been undercutting or discouraging yourself, maybe the ways that you've been limiting yourself. And with that kind of newfound understanding and acceptance, it's you're sorry to yourself for not having done better. And I think it's just important that if you are in a position where you're dealing with those kinds of energies, I think that self-forgiveness is a really wonderful and beautiful thing. And it's important to grant that to yourself and not get stuck in judgment of well, I did this and it made my situation worse, or I made this decision and it wasn't honoring me and then I really paid for it. It's don't give yourself a hard time about it, because if you're coming to that realization, it's for you to heal and release. And same if this is in relation to another person or event, it's coming up to be healed and released. And so, we do the best that we can with what we have at any given moment. And if now you're coming to a realization that something could have been handled better, or, you know, you made a bad move and it hurt somebody else, or hurt yourself, or somebody hurt you. It's just kind of understanding that, like, now that you have that information, you're prepared to kind of move beyond that. And that is what's most important, not rehashing anything that's painful, and like, you don't need to make yourself pay for it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The next thing that came through was gratuities. So obviously this could be in terms of like tips for any services that you're getting, or like, you know, meals, stuff like that. But it could also be like freebies. Like maybe people are just kind of like, maybe you find yourself coming into contact with people that have like free little things to give you. Maybe there are things that you're looking at that you're like, I don't really need this, or I'm not going to make use of it. Like maybe there's somebody else that can benefit from it, and like giving those away. So it's nothing like huge. Like I didn't get the sense that it's like you're giving away like a huge sum of money or something like incredibly valuable, but it's just like, it's almost like little gifts, right? However that might make sense for you this month, little gifts that you might be giving and receiving. And in spite of the fact that they're small and they may not even be material or monetary, they can be deeply impactful. So I think it's like important to recognize that there is a huge amount of power in that kind of like giving and receiving. So yeah, that's kind of nice. The next thing that I got was overbearing, and kind of like this more in like a sense, like an overbearing sense. So I couldn't tell if it was connected to a specific person or an event, but it could be a feeling. Like it could be like overbearing emotions or emotional turmoil, or something that's really kind of like weighing on you. It could be a person, you know, like somebody who puts a lot of pressure on you, somebody that you feel like challenged by, or that you really have to kind of watch yourself around because they've got high expectations. So it might be something that you're kind of trying to navigate this month. Any way that like an overbearing energy is showing up in your life, it might be figuring out how you can navigate that energy to kind of like lighten it up, so that you're not taking on stress in a situation where it's not necessary. And particularly if it's to do with somebody else, chances are you might be absorbing a lot of heavy energy that isn't necessarily yours. So it's like boundaries are good. And also like in terms of your relationship with yourself and your own thoughts and emotions, it's making sure that you're not holding on to anything that's too heavy, that's really going to weigh you down. So boundaries in terms of your own time and energy as well. The next thing that came through was my story isn't finished, which I thought was kind of interesting. So I kind of got the sense that maybe you've been at a point where you kind of feel like you're giving up, you've given up, or you're being tested to give up. Maybe you feel like you're being underestimated. Either you're underestimating yourself, or other people are underestimating you, or maybe you're feeling kind of like, it's not limited, like maybe other people are putting limitations on you, or like other people are assuming that there are no opportunities for growth or change, or it's like you're just this way and you have these opportunities and that's it. So I get the sense that like you can sense your own expansiveness, you sense that there's a lot more out there for you and you're willing to connect with it, and it's kind of like, I don't know, proving to yourself or to other people that it's like there's a lot there for you, right? And you're not just some simple person. There's a lot of complexity there, and like, yeah, your story isn't finished. So like, don't put yourself in a box or let anyone else put you in a box. And it's like resisting definition or labels or whatever that is, and it's showing people that like you don't have to adopt a label or an identity and just operate within that, because you can be so many things all at once, which I thought was like really, really awesome. The next thing that came through was, I can't believe this is happening. And it was kind of like, not in a bad way, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my bad luck. It was more like, finally, like for me, this is finally happening and I can't believe it. So I get the sense that there's almost like a level of, it might be something that happens this month that connects you with something that you've been hoping for or longing for, or that have wanted for a long time. Or it might just be like a shift in perspective that allows you to see what you've had all along, or maybe like connect with, maybe even on an emotional level, connect with things that are important to you that have been there all along, but you haven't been able to quite, it's like, you know, they're there, but maybe you haven't been able to quite like benefit from them or enjoy them to the extent that you would like to. So it's kind of like, there's a sense that like finally everything is falling into place. I have the things that I want and that are important to me. And so, yeah, so that is accompanied by like a little bit of excitement as well. The next thing that came through is arch nemesis. And so this definitely gives me the sense that there might be like either a specific person that you have a relationship with that tends to be really abrasive, that tends to challenge you a lot, you know, is somebody who's pretty problematic for you. You have a difficult time, and it kind of feels like you're always butting heads, or you're so different that it's like they're your arch nemesis. And it doesn't have to be even a specific person. If that makes sense for you, then great, you'll know who that is. But it can also be a type of person or a type of behavior, like something that you really struggle with that's modeled by a number of people around you, and it's like some kind of energy, like opposing energy that you're fighting. And so I would just say the thing that came to mind with this energy is it can be super frustrating, and it can also get us in our emotions and in our own head in unhelpful ways. And I would just say that if you've got somebody like that, obviously like boundaries in terms of like how much you interact with them, and doing what you can to protect your own energy and make sure that you're not letting yourself get dragged down by those interactions. But then it's also seeing like what you can learn from that person, because if they're doing something that's triggering you, as much as it can be frustrating to deal with that and demoralizing, it's about recognizing that at the very, very least, this person is giving you the opportunity to maybe come to a deeper level of awareness in terms of something that you're dealing with right now. So yeah, that might be something to consider. The next thing that came through was ice cream sandwiches. And it's funny because I actually got this like flash, and it was almost like a memory or like a feeling. Like the best thing that I can describe it as, it's almost like being at grandma's house. Like grandma's house, like in the spring and summer when the weather is nice. So it's like those ice cream sandwiches, like the ones with the chocolate, like wafer and the ice cream in the middle. And like that being attached to like childhood memories and like looking back on that fondly. And then it's like I got like water guns and bicycles and like carefree time. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it was like a really nice, like nostalgic feeling that I got from it. So the next thing that came through was like nature walks, like forested trails. Like I kind of I got a lot of like imagery coming through, like, and normally that doesn't happen for me. Normally I'm just like a words person, but like I saw myself walking through this like really nice forested area, and there's like light coming through the trees, and it was just like quiet and like sunny day. So you might be somebody who enjoys getting out in nature, in the forest, maybe like adopting a more consistent practice of going out for walks or like walking in nature. That might be something that's beneficial to you, maybe something that you'll have more opportunity to do since the weather is starting to improve. And the next kind of like vision that I had, it was like this white shelf, and there were like books and little things on it, and I was in the sunlight in a room, and I was taking all of my like thoughts and anxieties and worries and all of the things that were like occupying my mind, and it's like I just picked them up out of my head and I put them on the shelf and I walked away. So I kind of got the sense that it's like, if you've had a lot going on, especially like heavy thoughts, heavy feelings, if you've had anxiety, if you've been feeling a little bit burnt out, if you've got stuff that just like is weighing on you, it's about like consciously giving yourself a break from those things. So it's like, obviously we can't do that all day, every day, because there are things that we have to manage and accomplish. But I think it's kind of the sense that I got from it. It was a very light, very empowered type of feeling, that it's like, when I give myself a break from the things that are stressing me out, I am giving myself a break, and I'm committing not to engage with that energy, those worries, those thoughts, that discomfort. I am choosing that, like, I'm not engaging with that whatsoever for this period of time, so I can focus on like just being in the sunlight. So I think that's important. If you do have a self-care routine, if you are able to take time for yourself, your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, all of that, that I think it's really important to like maybe even try that practice of visualizing yourself taking everything that's weighing on you and distracting you and bringing you down and just putting it on a shelf, right? Put it on a shelf in the room, leave, close the door, and then take some time for yourself so that it's like that information, those feelings aren't accessible for you during this time, so that you can make the most of your energy and your awareness to in a healing capacity. So I thought that was really nice. And the next kind of vision, there's like a lot of sunshine coming through. It was like I was sitting on the floor in a bright room, like on a cushion or a yoga mat or something, and the sun, it was like brightly lit room, and the sun was coming through the window, and I was just sitting on the floor in the sunshine and like just enjoying the warmth of the sun. And so I kind of feel like we're all in the space where like we've been missing the sunlight, we've been missing the warmth. Obviously, like we're still pretty early into spring, so the weather is hit and miss, and it's not super warm outside, but yeah, if you are needing some sunlight, if you're needing some warmth, just like I would say that might be something good. Like even if you can find a sunny spot in your house to like snuggle up, even if you're just having tea and like reading a book or whatever, that might be something really beneficial. And then the last thing that came through was really awesome, which it was anything that you want can be yours. So it's like whatever you're focused on, whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're feeling, whatever you're motivated to kind of get to, it's kind of like, yeah, like there are no limitations. Like anything you want can be yours. You just kind of have to decide what that is. You have to decide that you want it. And then it's about like whatever practical steps need to be taken in order to completely open yourself up to that opportunity. But yeah, I get the sense of like no more limitations on what you're allowed to experience or enjoy. So that might very well be an energy that you're coming into contact with this spring, which is really lovely, I think. Okay, so we'll get into your oracle cards now. So your first is Regeneration, which I think is really awesome, especially for spring. That's the energy that we are all about right now. Your second is Dream a Beautiful Dream. So that's funny, like, because I got your messages before these oracle cards came out, and these very much supports it. Like, just before I even read, like, the basic energy of this, it is very much like an awakening, a rebirth. It speaks a lot to healing, you know, allowing light in, allowing yourself to acknowledge and let go of the things that haven't worked, because so 4 and 6 is 10, 1 and 9 is 10. So these are both 10s. 10s are all about ending. So it's like you're at the end of the road, you're at the end of a cycle, you've learned what you needed to learn, and now is the time to basically take a look back on your journey to this point and see what you went through, to kind of like reconcile everything that you felt and experienced, and kind of decide what lesson you're going to take from it, what energy was beneficial and what has helped you, and what you're going to take forward, you know, on to your path, and what was maybe challenging or didn't work out or didn't serve you or won't serve you moving forward, and like letting that go. So with Regeneration, this is a perfect card for springtime, because it's all about like we've been through winter, right? So we've already been through that kind of slow, dark, stagnant period where, you know, we're having to wait. Things aren't necessarily growing. Most things have already kind of like died, and they're covered with snow. And so it's like now coming into a time where we're ready to start moving again, right? And so we've kind of had the necessary time to sit, whether it's been comfortable or not, whether it's been painful or challenging or really blissful, that kind of like dormant waiting period. It's about recognizing that we've had the time to experience that slow moving energy in whatever way that kind of showed up for us. And now is the time for, the sun is coming back out, the ground is thawing, it's time for new growth. So there's a new opportunity here. There's a new opportunity, and specifically to leave some stuff in the past and to connect with something new, because, we're always changing and growing and evolving. And the most important part of continuing through those cycles, which we inevitably continuously go through, is being able to recognize that that's what's happening, and being willing to accept, whatever lessons we've learned. Accept that, if we lost something or something hasn't worked out for us, then that was meant to go, and to allow ourselves to let go of that fully, so that we can be open to new opportunities, new experiences, new growth. And this is also very much like the phoenix, like rising from the ashes, right? So it's like, even if the entire landscape is burned down, eventually new growth will start popping up. And it's like, you see it in nature all of the time, even after like forest fires. And even like specifically with forest fires, they're really destructive. But I think, what is it, all the nitrates, or there's something to do with it, that it basically leaves a really fertile area for new growth and everything to kind of come back stronger. So it's like, whatever you're going through right now, and whatever you're experiencing and have experienced to date, it looks like April is going to be a really great month for you to start either like planting new seeds, putting down new roots, just connecting with a kind of renewed energy, allowing yourself to be healed through this kind of transformative experience that you've had, and deciding, like, if you're in a period where the sun is coming back out and you're ready to start growing and moving forward, it's like, what do you want that to look like and feel like? And what are you being challenged to let go of from this whole fire, right? That kind of like cleansed everything away. So yeah, it's about embracing fresh starts, new energy, seeing the opportunity that you've got to let go of the things that are limiting to you, and allow yourself to be transformed in such a way that you can kind of make it your own. Like, you can channel your own energy, your own thoughts, your own desires. And it's like part of what has burned away or like fallen away or died, or what you're being challenged to kind of let go of. It can also be like, it can be hurt, it can be pain, it can be difficult experiences, it can be limiting beliefs that you have about, yourself, your career, your money, your stability, like anything that, however that applies to you. So it's kind of like, yeah, there's a really beautiful opportunity to connect with this new energy, and to have that come out with Dream a Beautiful Dream, which is also about letting go. This is about beauty, and like, beauty is something that's really important in your life. And I think beauty is a really difficult topic for a lot of us, because we live in this society where beauty has really been reduced to something superficial. That's kind of what we're inundated with. So it's like airbrushing and plastic surgery and like, the nicest, most expensive clothes and cars. And it's very heavily tied to like vanity and materialism. And it's not what beauty is all about, right? And so this month is going to be a really good time for you to kind of take a look at your relationship to beauty, your thoughts about beauty, the beauty within yourself, your physical body, your emotions, and the beauty around you, and kind of step into that in a more holistic way, to recognize that that's an important part of your life, is connecting with beauty. And if you have a resistance to beauty because of the more superficial aspects, then this is basically saying, like, if you need a reminder of the beauty of life and the beauty of existence, and that's something that needs to be kind of healed for you, then look to nature, right? Because the natural world is so beautiful. There's so many like unique landscapes, unique animals. It's just like, It's natural in its beauty. It is meant to inspire us, right? Because beauty in general, whether it's like our own beauty, whether it's our creativity, something that we make or build, it's supposed to be soothing, for the soul. It's supposed to be positive, it's not supposed to be about ego or status or anything like that. And so, yeah, I think getting out into nature, maybe reconnecting to nature, taking a moment to recognize and appreciate the beauty, of the sun, the sky, the clouds, the birds, the trees, right? Like flowers, and really allowing that to remind you of true beauty, right? And that is kind of the nature of existence, is that things are just beautiful. Nature is the most beautiful thing, and it doesn't try, it just is, right? And the same goes for us. Like, we have the ability to connect to that beauty that transcends the superficial. And so with Dream a Beautiful Dream, it's saying that like beauty is something that's important to you because it's going to be motivating. It's going to make you feel good, right? Like living, creating a beautiful life, whatever that looks like and feels like to you, it has value and it's important. And this also means being able to recognize that even the most difficult, challenging, or like less than ideal situations are beautiful because they are, right? Like it's just the nature of things. There is beauty in life, in our experiences. We just aren't necessarily taught to see and value that, because we think of beauty in a kind of simple, one-dimensional way. And so this is basically also saying like, yeah, look to nature for really good examples and to help you connect to beauty and that like energy, the vibration of beauty and love. But it's also saying like, it will be empowering for you to connect to your own experiences and to see the beauty in those. So that's part of the healing process, basically. So it's like, this card basically says like, there's something that you're going through right now that you kind of doubt that you have the ability to change or to fix or to heal. And it's kind of like being stuck in a certain perspective. So whatever the situation is for you that you feel like maybe a little bit powerless to change or improve, it's basically saying like, it's hard for you to picture it any other way than it is, and likely just because of your own experiences and feelings surrounding it. And so that's the thing that's kind of keeping you in that place where you're feeling like, maybe I can't do this, or why can't I fix this? And so with Dream a Beautiful Dream, it's encouraging you to recognize that if you can see that there is beauty in all things, regardless of whether we can fully comprehend or understand it, knowing and expecting that there is beauty in yourself and in your circumstances allows you to be open-minded in the sense that you'll be able to start seeing, maybe how a certain circumstance or a certain experience benefited you, seeing the beauty in it for you, the beauty of what you experienced or how you grew or how you were changed, right? So it's basically like approaching the things that feel the most daunting with a curious mind and expecting to see beauty. If you expect to see beauty, you'll be open-minded enough to see it in a meaningful way. It's kind of like you can go outside and you can ignore nature and not appreciate its beauty. But if you go outside and you allow yourself to revel in the beauty that surrounds you, you become deeply aware of it, right? So it's like the same kind of approach applies to your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, and yourself. So this could be like you, your confidence. This could be your physical body. This could be a relationship. This could be a job or a creative endeavor. It could be anything. Whatever that thing is for you, you have the power to fix it, to transcend it. But it's not by figuring out how. Like, you don't have to figure it out and try and mold it into something that's right or something that's beautiful. The way that you're going to kind of move through it and transcend it is by allowing yourself to see the beauty in it, right? And so it's like, if you accept that there's something beautiful even in the most awful circumstances, and you expect to see it, then you're going to be able to kind of ascertain what that is for you and what you can do with it. And you don't have to work to change it. It's more about just being able to see it for what it really is and accept it as such. And so I think the guidebook says something about you don't have to do anything about it. Like, ask that situation to reveal its beauty to you. And so it's like, if you're looking for it, you'll find it. Similarly to being outside. So it's like, yeah, very much connecting to your own beauty and the beauty in the world around you. That's going to be something that helps you on your healing journey and helps you with regeneration. And I think will help you to let go of whatever is limiting you, whatever is dragging you down, because it's kind of like, if everything has burned to the ground and you can kind of start fresh, why would you want to carry the limiting beliefs, the pain, those challenging experiences that are already over, that you can't do anything about the past? So if you've got a fresh start, why would you want to bring all of that difficult stuff with you, right? But the challenge is that you have to work through it to let go of it. And so it's only when it comes into your awareness that you can, take time to see the beauty and accept it for what it is and decide like what you're going to do with that, and to allow yourself to heal by releasing what doesn't serve and taking the perspective that is empowering and enlightening and moving forward with that. So I think that's really, really promising. So we'll get into your tarot and we'll see what the cards have to say, but I'm really loving this energy so far for you, Sagittarius. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get you some tarot. The one thing, I just happened to glance at my computer and I remembered there's something I forgot to add into your channeled messages, but I didn't know the word, so I actually had to Google it, and it was seeing it on my screen that reminded me. But the word that came through was sundries. And I feel like I've heard that word before, but I didn't know what it means. So I Googled it, and it's basically like, it's kind of like miscellaneous items. Like, so the definition is various different small things that are considered together, usually because they're not important enough to be considered separately. And so, so some examples of that would be like, maybe even like little pieces of hardware for like home furnishing. So like door handles and like screws and brackets and like little things. It could be toiletries, knickknacks. So it's like little things that are all grouped together because there's a number of them and they're not like significant enough to be like considered individually. Or there's like multiples of little things. So it kind of like, it made me think of like a junk drawer. I don't know. So you might have a lot of little items. You might be trying to like organize a lot of those things. That might be a theme this month, like something that you're dealing with, like lots of little items and it's kind of like disorganized and they're all just getting grouped together. But yeah, I forgot to mention that. So that's interesting. Okay, so let's get your cards for April. Okay, so your first card is the Ace of Wands. Your second card is the Nine of Swords. Okay, let's see what else is here. Your third card is the Ace of Swords. And I'll get you one more. There we go. Oh, last card is the Empress. And the bottom of the deck is the Nine of Swords. And I'm going to do something a little bit differently this month. I think what I'm going to do is pull all of your clarifiers immediately, and then we'll just read the cards all together as a whole. So let me just get my other deck here. Make sure I'm trying to make enough room so that I can put the cards underneath. Okay, so let's clarify the Ace of Wands to start. Already I am seeing the significance of these cards, so that's cool. Okay. I was holding the deck upside down. Okay, so we have the Five of Cups clarifying the Ace of Wands. Let's clarify the Nine of Swords next. The Three of Cups. And we'll clarify the Ace of Swords. Goodness, the Three of Wands. And finally, we'll clarify the Empress. And then we've got the Ace of Pentacles. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Four of Wands. Let's see, I don't know if you can see everything. The frame is a little tight. Maybe I'll move it down just a bit. Okay. Yeah, so this is actually very interesting. So I will say, before I start reading the individual cards, I will say right off the bat that it doesn't surprise me that we've got a good number of wands here. So like Nine of Wands, Four of Wands, Three of Wands, Ace of Wands. That doesn't surprise me because even as I was doing the pre-shuffle of your tarot cards to kind of like prepare them for this reading, constantly wands were jumping out. So it was like wands, so fire energy, and also the Emperor. The Emperor is fire energy. The Emperor represents Aries. So I wasn't surprised to see that a lot of wands came out, especially since we are in Aries season. And you know, that is Sagittarius energy as well. So, and also I will say that going hand in hand with this number of like tens we have here, which I had said is, you know, about endings, about kind of being ready to reconcile your experiences, let go of the things that are not going to help you move forward, and then be ready to step into something new. That being kind of like the overarching theme and the energies for this month. You know, we've got really nice complementary kind of energy here. We've got 3 out of 4 aces. So that's kind of like new start, new perspective all around. So I really, really like that. Just kind of a big picture view of this. So this is kind of interesting. So the Nine of Wands and Four of Wands at the bottom of the deck kind of indicates being a little bit guarded, maybe having walls up, you know, not necessarily wanting to make any moves, not necessarily, it could even be like, not really connecting with your inspiration, not really acting on your inspiration. It's kind of a feeling of being hesitant. So it's like she's kind of got her guard up. She's looking ahead, trying to plan the next move, but it's also, it can be kind of a defensive energy where it's like you don't feel quite safe. You might be in a precarious position. It doesn't quite feel safe to move. And it's like, she's like kind of barricaded from moving forward. But a lot of times there's also kind of like a backward looking energy, which is like a fear of destruction or a fear of being attacked. So it's kind of like waiting to make your move. But yeah, it can be blocked. It can be guarded. It can be like a defensive kind of energy. And for it to come out with the Four of Wands, the Four of Wands is all about like stability and celebration. A lot of times it has to do with, it can do with a romantic partnership or just stability in terms of, you know, the side of your life that is tied to like your creativity, your passion, your spark, your enthusiasm, your joy, all of that kind of stuff. So it might be that if you are feeling guarded, or you have been feeling guarded in a way, or you've been maybe blocking yourself from connecting with certain parts of yourself or certain aspects of your surroundings, maybe even related to like home and family life, it could be, or relationships. It's kind of like you might be blocking your own joy, right? So it's like the Nine of Wands, it's kind of sometimes has a feeling of like you're starting to get discouraged because it's been a long road. And it's kind of like, you know, you've made it this far and, you know, things are going to get better. It's like you just kind of have to see it through. So the sense is like, it's almost like, you know, it's right when you feel like you can't take any more the tides kind of turn, right? So it's like you kind of get pushed to that limit, and then things release, and you experience what you need to be able to kind of move beyond that. So I think that's really interesting. So the Nine of Wands here, and you're being encouraged to really, like, at the beginning of the month coming in, to start connecting with your own like inner spark, right? So this is an opportunity for more creative fulfillment, more passion, more excitement, more fun. This could be doing something that you're passionate about. That could be anything. It could be baking, it could be exercise, it could be journaling, it could be a spiritual practice, it could be spending time with friends, like whatever your creative outlet is. It's basically saying, like, now is the time to allow yourself to connect with whatever that is, like whatever it is that excites you and makes you feel alive, and start to kind of feed that flame a little bit, because that's what's going to open your mind to new perspectives and new opportunity, and you're surrounded by opportunity. And because it's here with the Five of Cups, it's kind of like you almost have the sense that I'm getting is it's almost the opportunity to alchemize previous experiences, particularly the experiences that have been maybe heavy, emotional, losses, things that haven't turned out the way that you wanted to, things that have been emotionally challenging, anything that you're feeling particularly down about. So if you've got any kind of pessimism, if there's any kind of sadness or depression, or looking on a memory or experience with sadness or pain, and that's kind of making you discouraged, because you see the horse is looking down into the darkness and he's not seeing all these cups, all these opportunities for happiness and fulfillment available to him. So it's kind of like, if you are struggling with that lower kind of energy, with hurt and like deep emotions, and it might not even be like something, it could be something you're consciously aware of, but it could just be an overall low feeling and you're not sure what that's connected to. However that applies to you, it's kind of like you're being very much encouraged to just connect with your joy, And it's funny because the channeled messages, I told you, it was like the theme was sunlight, like getting in the sun, feeling the sun. And that's kind of like Wands energy, right? It's like the things that make us feel good, that light us up, that warm us up, that make us feel alive, right? And so it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like connecting to those things that you're passionate about, making space for them, investing in them, carrying them out, allowing them to impact your mood. It can help you transform this energy and maybe even give you like a new perspective on it, so that you can, it's kind of like illuminating this darkness, right? So that you're kind of taking away the power that it's holding over you, and you can connect with something better. And so I think the important thing is, especially if you have a tendency to be caught up in your mind or your emotions, this kind of energy, this creativity, this passion, excitement, that is a great way to alchemize the difficult stuff, right? And so sometimes we can't wait for our mood to get better. Sometimes we can't wait for our thoughts to improve, or for situations to kind of even out. Sometimes we actually have to physically, like, we have to take some kind of action. And usually Wands is a card of action, right? It is taking that inspiration, taking that creativity, taking that passion, and taking action on it, applying it to something, and taking the idea from, a spark in your head, and just bringing that into your reality, right? So there's the opportunity for you to kind of maybe get a little bit more freedom, and maybe even a different perspective on the things that you feel like have been lost, and the things that make you sad, the things that haven't turned out the way that you want them to, so that you're not, looking into the void all the time, like not looking into the darkness, and you can start to connect with the joy and the happiness that's in your life and the abundance that's there. And so it's kind of like what I was saying about how there's like an opportunity to start anew, right? To let go of what isn't working. And it's like, I think this is not what's not working for you. It's like the emotional kind of weight of the things that have happened in the past. And also that can turn into a fear that kind of stuff will continue to happen, or that you're going to be set up for future loss and future hurt. And sometimes it can cause us to stay in this place where we're sad, and we don't give ourselves an opportunity to connect with passion and happiness, because we're afraid it will be taken away. And so it's basically like, what you focus on is what's most important this month, especially if you have the opportunity to kind of start fresh. And I think it's just connecting with the things that get you going and get you riled up and excited is going to help keep you from staying in this low energy. And I think you'll see that you have the ability to kind of shift that maybe more than you realized. Your challenge for this month is definitely like, yeah, it's definitely like overthinking it's anxiety, unhelpful thoughts, whether they're critical thoughts, negative thoughts, whether it is sadness that creeps in and steals your joy or, makes you start worrying. This is like the energy, like the kind of stuff that keeps you up at night, or your like nightmares, whether asleep or like a waking nightmare kind of thing. And so it's kind of like being overwhelmed by this like anxious energy. And again, with the 9 being here, it's like the challenge is that it's like, yeah, you might be dealing with this unhelpful energy, these unhelpful thoughts, these fears, these worries, these limiting beliefs. And they might not even be rooted in reality. It could very well be a result of the experiences that you've had previously, especially the ones that have impacted you heavily on an emotional level, that are causing you to kind of like maybe project yourself into the future, or worry about what's to come, or worry about how things are going to turn out, and in a way that's not going to be fruitful for you. And I think that, yeah, it could literally be keeping you from getting sleep, but it could also just be preventing you from really being able to be calm, to relax, to get into that kind of Zen space where you can just feel good. And I think that this goes really nicely with that kind of vision that I had of like taking all of those thoughts out and just putting them on the shelf. So it's like, even if there's a lot there's a lot of things to consider, and they're not things that are going to go away immediately, or it's going to take you time to work through it. It's about like giving yourself some time away from it as well, right? So that you're not constantly overridden by this energy. You don't have this black cloud kind of hanging above you at all times. And with this connected to the 3 of Cups, the 3 of Cups, generally has to do with connection, community, celebration, like joy and happiness and fulfillment. So yeah, it can be a card of friendship. So the challenge, it'll look a little different for each one of you, I think. Like there might be relationships, like maybe a group of 3 people, or there might be 3 people in general that you're dealing with or that you're close to, that might be associated to these difficult thoughts, these beliefs, these fears. Perhaps those people are not helping you, or perhaps those individuals have their own kind of emotional experience related to that energy, and so they're not necessarily able to support you. But I do get the sense that not all of this is yours. And that, generally goes for that kind of excess mental energy, the stuff that's dragging us down, is that, there's a certain amount of it that's a result of what we have experienced ourselves. But there's also the stuff that we absorb from, our environment, societal expectations, from family, from friends. It can be even like work, mentors, teachers. And so this is about like your personal truths and which of those are actually true to you, right? So it's like, you'll see there's a number of black birds here, and then there's one white one. And the thing is, it's like, if you think about those black birds as those really heavy, negative, critical thoughts, the ones that actually, break you down and keep you from being your best. And that's like the anxiety and fear. And this one thought, maybe that is your personal truth. That is what feels good. That's what feels right. That's what's empowering. It's saying like, even if there's just one of those thoughts, you can choose to focus on that thought, and that thought, that idea, that feeling can be the one that gets you through. So it's kind of like the fight of dark versus light. But this is also a very tired and worn out energy, because it's likely been a long road, and there have been a lot of experiences. There's been a lot of unhelpful stuff. There could be a lot of challenges associated with all of this. And it's natural to feel worn down at a certain point, that it's like, wow, if I've been in this energy for so long, who's to say that I'm going to ever get out of it? Right? And that is the challenge, because the 9 of Swords, you're almost there. Same with this 9 of Wands. You're almost at the end, and that's generally when it feels the hardest because it's piled up on you, right? But the beautiful thing is that just being able to recognize like it won't stay this way forever, and it can and will change, and focusing on your power, your truth, and what you can do to change that for yourself and not allow that to be your reality. So it's like you can choose to change your mind about these things that are weighing on you at the very least. Then that gives you the opportunity to let the cycle complete, and you can kind of see how it all comes together and see how, you know, a number of these things were never serving you anyways, and it's time for them to go. And in releasing them, not only are you relieving yourself of this burden and whatever's keeping you up at night, but you're also allowing a lot more space in your life and your attention and your energy for something new to grow, right? So I think that's really beautiful. And the other thing is too, is that there's always something to be celebrated, right? Like there's always some good. And so I think it's also important to focus on the people that you do have that are supportive, the love that's around you, the compassion and support that's available to you. Especially if you're feeling like things are particularly bleak, right? Because it's like these 3 little birds are looking at the sun. So yeah, so the challenge is not to be overcome by this energy and to recognize that this is just a part of the cycle, right? Like you are meant to be in this energy so that you can recognize what's not working for you, as much as it might be difficult and tiring, that there is something to be gained from it if you don't allow it to completely, you know, ruin your perspective on love and happiness and fulfillment and connection and relationships. And it could also be that this is preventing you from celebrating with your community, your family, the things that you enjoy doing, the things that you love, the abundance that you have. These thoughts could be preventing you from doing that. So things might feel particularly difficult because you've got a bunch of negative thoughts and feelings swirling around, and it's preventing you from really truly connecting to the things that you do love and that are meaningful. So just know if you are struggling with that now and like into this month, that this is a good month to kind of move beyond that, I think. You are recommended to just give yourself some space. So the funny thing is with the 9 of Swords, what I said here about this white bird being like your truth, what's true for you, that's the thing that makes you feel good, that feels right to you, that is empowering, that inspires hope. That's who you are. That's what you value at your core, and that's what you can kind of build your new foundation on. And I really see that as translating to this Ace of Swords, where it's like this light, whatever that light is, allow yourself to connect with it, to investigate what that feels like, what that looks like, what it's connected to in your life, the things in your life that feel light, that feel inspiring, that feel empowering, like what you know to be true versus what everybody else tells you is true, or what your so this isn't based on your external circumstances. This is your inner kind of light, right? So it goes hand in hand. So taking everything else out of contention, like in terms of other people's thoughts and beliefs, because everybody has their own truth. It's connecting with what that is and allowing yourself to delve into that and to see how that can transform your entire perspective on your situation, on your life, whatever this is that you're struggling with. The mind is a powerful thing, and we can focus on the negative and we can become overwhelmed by it, and we can spiral, right, all the way down into this pit where it's difficult to see anything positive or any opportunity. But in the same way, if we can guide our thoughts in a direction that is going to be empowering, and we can connect with even just that little bit of hope and start to focus on that and allow that to be what motivates us, we can ascend. And there's an opportunity to kind of have a major shift in perspective and belief that I think will be really empowering for you, especially at a time when it seems as though you're ready to be releasing the heaviness. You're ready to be releasing the things that are making you feel trapped, the things that are hurtful and disappointing, the things that are painful. And, obviously that can't all be resolved at once. It's a long process, but the first step is recognizing that it is possible and making the decision to kind of move away, right? So you've got the fresh start, and this is a new perspective to accompany you. So it's like, after everything that you've experienced and everything that you've been through, what is your truth now? Who are you now? How have you been changed? You don't need to cling to the past and who you have been or what you have felt. And you don't need to be defined by your struggle or your trauma either. You don't have to make a home out of it. It's basically like an investigation into like, who are you now? If you just finished a cycle, if you just experienced something major and you're ready to let go, what are you letting go of because you're done with it and you don't want more of that? And what are you moving toward based on how you know yourself now? And for this to be connected to the Three of Wands, the Three of Wands is a card of opportunity, right? It's about kind of being on this path of growth, toward fulfillment, toward creative expression, enthusiasm, joy, like everything that the Ace of Wands stands for. This kind of like allowing that to take you further along your path, right? And so the Three of Wands is generally a card of like, if you start to follow that spark, if you start to allow room for that energy in your life and to do the things that bring you joy and to see how that starts to change your outlook, it has the opportunity to help you kind of work through and release these things, then it's like, what else is available to you? It's kind of like a whole new world opens up, because generally the Three of Wands is somebody standing on top of a hill, looking out over the horizon at the ocean and like, watching their ships come in basically. So it's like doing the work, recognizing what's possible and being willing to connect with that energy and put that energy in motion, and then starting to see the return on it and recognizing like, wow, there's so much more opportunity out there. So it's like, I'm already starting to benefit. How much more is out there? And if I can do anything, what will that be? So it's kind of like, yeah, there's a huge amount of potential and opportunity there. And here you see it's kind of like the wands have been tied together to form this, it almost looks like a little portal, and it's like this like mystical rainbow, like it's like almost like a portal to like a new dimension. So it's kind of like, to get through this energy, it's like, see how your own personal truth and how you think about yourself and what you want for yourself, what you want to create for yourself, can be put into action and connected to your passions, connected to the things that excite you, the things that bring you joy. And it's like really focusing on your inner light, because the whole idea, I think, is, it's time for you to start figuring out what you want and what works for you, and lighting your own path and letting everybody else, do them. Like, you don't have to worry about what people expect of you or conforming to their needs, because I think this whole thing is, it's like, you're getting to the end of this place where people are going to have control over you. And that, it might be like dominance and control, but it also could be just the ability to impact you subconsciously or on an emotional level, or to pressure you into doing things that you don't want to do. Because I really feel like this is an opportunity for you to heal from whatever that is and whatever trauma you've been through, and to kind of cultivate a new perspective and a new approach that is really going to be specific and beautiful and unique to you, because it does go hand in hand with like, bad dreams, nightmares, and then dream a beautiful dream. So it's like, you have the ability to start focusing on what you want to create. You've kind of got a blank slate in front of you, and it's the time for seeds to be planted, which the Ace of Pentacles is here, and that's what that always means to me. So it's like, what are you gonna do? What do you want to create? And if you're going to create something, it might as well be something that you're enthusiastic about, something that you can enjoy, because the more that you lean into that energy, the more those kinds of opportunities are going to, show up for you, or you're going to be willing to see them. And so the highest possible outcome this month is really beautiful with the Empress here. It's kind of like an opportunity for rebirth, or to bring a new version of yourself into being. It could be bringing a new idea, a new creative outlet. It could be entrepreneurial, a new job. So however this energy makes sense to you, there's the sense that there's something within you that's waiting to be born. And it's kind of like right now is in the incubation period. So, which makes sense. If you're at the end, you've got a blank slate, and you're going to start connecting with new opportunities and shifting perspective and focusing on the things that are empowering and that feel good. I get the sense that, the seeds that you're planting this month and the things that you're being intentional about. So it's like, if you think down the road, like, for example, with the metaphor of a garden, right? If you think about planting a garden, you have to decide what is going to be in this garden. What kind of flowers or vegetables am I going to plant? How many of them? And like, how much space do I need? So it's like there's a certain amount of planning that has to go, and then preparation. So you're in the stage now where it's kind of like your job is to envision what that is for you. And once you've decided and once you've felt your way through it based on this new perspective and this passion and inspiration and creativity that you're missing out on, the things that really kind of like get you going and make you excited about life, that's what's going to be in this seed that you're planting. And that has the potential. You're not necessarily going to see the results this month because, it's just like the season of spring. You are in your spring season right now. But the work that you're doing now is going to lay the foundation for, the next 3 to 6 months to a year. There's no timeline on it really, because that's unique to you, but it really has the opportunity to give you the ability to just birth something new into creation. So like I said, it could be a new version of yourself. It could be stepping into a new role. It could be motherhood, becoming a mother, stepping into a motherhood role, embracing your maternal side, mothering yourself, caring for yourself. This is a very grounded, fertile energy. So it really supports, planting new seeds. And I think that's really, really beautiful. The other thing that I see is like there's a lot of threes. We've got Empress, which is 3, 3 of Wands, and 3 of Cups. And 3, to me, I usually think like body, mind, and spirit or soul. And those 3 things being in alignment and that being important. So overall, Sagittarius, I think this is a really wonderful month. It seems like it has the potential for a lot of healing, a lot of renewal. And the key seems to be to like connect to your inner light. And I think that has a lot to do with beauty, right? Finding beauty in your situation, in your experiences, and just connecting with the beauty of life, because that might be part of what lights you up. Okay, so we'll get you affirmations. I make decisions from a place of intuition and power. Relationships are assignments for optimal growth and healing. I don't need to find my purpose. My purpose will find me. And all 4 of yours came out at once, which is incredible. And I surrender my desires, and I know the universe has my back. Wow. So I think that's really lovely. And it kind of just drives home the fact that like, this is all about you, you connecting with yourself. What's important to you? What's weighing heavily on you that you can let go of, and what is your truth based on what you've experienced? What do you want to create? What makes you excited? What do you want to build for yourself? What do you want your life to look like? Right. And to connect with your intuition, because that's your power. Right? Your relationships are going to be important this month, in terms of even just helping you connect further with yourself or get more clarity on what is important to you. Because sometimes it's not until we're faced with somebody who questions us or challenges us, or even somebody that we really align with, that we really become aware of our values or what's important to us. So relationships will be a great tool for you this month to kind of see maybe areas for growth or healing or release, to help you along this path and to step into this energy. And the funny thing of I don't need to find my purpose will find me, I feel that goes really well hand in hand with what this card, Dream a Beautiful Dream, represents, which is that you don't have to worry about fixing the situation or making it look right or forcing it to be better. It's just ask it to reveal its beauty to you and trust that if you're looking for beauty, you'll be able to see it, and that will take you in a new direction. It's kind of like this. There's a lot of trust that you'll be able to do the healing work. It's not about toiling to fix something. It's really just about allowing yourself to connect to the light in your life and get sunshine and be outside. And so I surrender my desires and know the universe has my back. Just further encouraging you to trust yourself, trust the process, trust that things are working out for you. I really like how that's all come together. And just for fun, I'm going to do one last thing, because usually when I do readings for people, I do like to finish with an oracle card, just because sometimes it's fun to see how it ties it all together. So I'm going to get you one last oracle card to tie everything up, and maybe one last little bit of advice or clarity, and I will read it directly from the guidebook instead of interpreting it for you. Okay, so your card is Council of Light, and it says Divine Orchestration, Helpers in the Subtle Realms. Okay, so bear with me for a moment. I just have to find the page. Okay. So, Council of Light, Divine Orchestration, Helpers in the Subtle Realms. So it says, the Council of Light is a team of benevolent beings who are here to assist the raising of consciousness of the planet. They are here to help you achieve your soul mission and are guiding you every step of the way. However, because we live in a world where free will reigns, they cannot help you without your permission. If you would like their assistance, it is time to ask them. They can help with all kinds of requests. Nothing is too big or too small. Think of them as your personal team of helpers in the spirit realm. They are willing and ready to step in and get to work. What would you like help with? What tasks would you like to delegate to them? The Council of Light is a team of ascended masters, light beings, angels, and guides devoted to the rising of Earth and all humanity. If you are a light worker, it is from them that you receive your personal mission. Like a Spirit World United Nations, they want to thank you so much for doing this work and devoting your life to uplifting the planet. Pray to them for clarity and guidance regarding your personal mission. Put in your requests and let them get to work. And then there's an activation here. I'll read it for you in case it's something that you want to do. So it says hold the card on your heart and say, but you can just like maybe focus on the card. And then say it out loud. Council of Light, I am ready to receive your help for fulfilling my personal dharmic mission. Thank you for guiding me with clarity every step of the way and for sending me helpers and experiences that delight my mind, body, and soul. Beautiful. I really like that. And that kind of just supports all of this, especially these two things, like trusting your purpose will find you and the universe has your back. So this is kind of like there is help even if you don't see it in your external circumstances. And yeah, sometimes just like praying out loud, speaking out loud, asking for help, saying what you're trying to do. Sometimes that helps you, especially if you're feeling particularly in need of support. So Sagittarius, I think that's a really wonderful reading for you for the month of April. If you enjoyed this reading, please like the video, leave me a comment. If there's anyone that you can think of that might enjoy these types of readings, please feel free to share with them. And if you haven't already, you can head on over to my channel at Bright Soul Collective Tarot, take a look at my other videos and subscribe to my channel, and that'll keep you up to date on new readings as they're posted. So Sagittarius, as always, it's been a pleasure reading for you, and I'm looking forward to reading for you again in the future. I hope April treats you well and Aries season has you feeling bossy. And in the meantime, I'm wishing you all the very best.